I just heard somebody want a sip of you. They want to know your flavor. They want to know your flavor. They want to know your flavor. I don't know why I'm hearing that. That sounds like a commercial. They want to take a sip of you. They like you because you hot. They like you because you hot. You hit the spot. Oh, hey. They like you because you hot and you hit the spot. They trying to catch every drip, drop. All right, okay. What we talking about, Spirit? What you talking about? Because it started out with the sips and, okay, seeing teacups. What's going on here? Tell me about this person that's thinking about sipping. Sipping. Let's see. Okay. Say something, Spirit. Say something. What you want to say? Say it. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Okay, so let's see what they talking about. What they said that you rocked this person's world. You rocked it. Okay? Rocked. Okay. Excuse the interruption. Okay, let's see. Yes, I feel like you rocked this person's world. That's what I said, right? But there's something here where this person feels a little sad about something, a little confused about something. I don't know what that's about, but we're about to find out. Okay. I see a lot of cups. Remember I was talking about how they want to sip from your cup? Okay, well, let's see how that goes, because there's a lot of cups there already. So what you trying to say, Spirit? What you trying to say? Tell me a thing or two or three. I heard I just haven't found love yet. And I hope that love is you. Okay, all right, I get it. So maybe that's what the sadness is about. This person wants to be able to have a child by someone or share their wealth with this Ace of Pentacles and King of Pentacles, but they don't just want to share with anyone. Remember I said they're solid? There goes the solid. Okay. You do as you please with that. Okay. They're looking at you as someone that's totally new. Okay, someone who's very different from who they're used to, okay? What is this, Devil? They're obsessed with the idea of actually having a family with you, doing things together. Like this person really wants to do things together with you. They feel like you're like the perfect parent. You're just like the perfect... They feel like you're very well-rounded, I just heard. This person feels like you're very well-rounded, so they just feel like you have the goods, okay? They feel like you have the goods. And not just in an in-between the sheets activity way. However, it's like you just know how to get things done. They feel like you're responsible and loving. Loving, responsible, trustworthy. They've been with many people in the past, but they've never experienced anybody like you. You see how the Hermit is right here, looking at the Queen of Wands? It's like after all of this life that they have lived, they always realized that they were looking at people that really were empty inside. They don't want to be with zombies. This person feels like they've encountered so many zombies in their life that they don't want that anymore. That's not like the type of life that they want to live. Because having a relationship with a zombie is crazy. It's not something that's conducive. You can't have a child with someone who's empty. And if you do, I mean, people do it all the time. However, if, like, say, for instance, a masculine energy has a child by a woman who's empty and she doesn't have any love in her, she just has, like, the only thing that she worries about is vanity and, like, shallow things. She can't teach the baby. She can't nurture the baby because she's too busy being selfish and worried about herself. And that's the same thing for a masculine energy. A masculine energy that is so into themselves that they think about everybody else last. How could they be a good parent, right? So that's the realization that this person has come to when it comes to them, like, reevaluating their past situations. They just because they want a family. So they're thinking about, like, what was I doing? What was the point of me with these people? Because none of them were marriage material, or none of them had, like, the parental figure stamped on them, on their energy. There was none of that there. You know how many people have kids and don't want them and complain about them all day? There's many people that don't. They weren't thinking before they laid down. They just laid down, but they didn't think about, what could happen after. And so they'll have kids and then regret their children. And that's really sad when that happens, And that's just someone that they didn't think about what happens when you lay down with someone, what the possibilities are. And I'm looking up at the camera and I'm seeing this card right here. This is how a lot of people feel that have kids and don't want them. They got their arms crossed. They looking at the child like, why are you even here? I don't even like you. And then the child gets mistreated. And then the child turns out to be someone who's very angry and they're lacking resources. So they go out and get it how they live it. They just go outside and then do things and get into things that they shouldn't when they end up with a parent that doesn't love them. Can't you see that being a big reason as to why there's so much chaos outside with the crime and the violence and all that? That comes from a broken home. Not all the time does it come from a broken home, because there's some people that could have great parents and a very healthy family, but something went wrong before they got here and their wires is crossed. So they a little psychotic and they go outside at night and creep and do stuff to people. So there's different reasons as to why people behave the way they behave. But for whatever reason, Spirit put that on me to say it, so I just let it go. Yeah, but this person is really thinking about the fact that those that they were with before, they would never compare to you. And I almost think that they're taken aback by the fact that, because I feel like they've dealt with plenty of individuals in their past. And when they really think about how many of them were void inside, they were like empty, they had no substance. I think it actually is that brings them to, like, this realization of how bad it really is when it comes to people and their distortion of the mind that people live with. So many people live with distorted beliefs and they live by them, and they don't know how to unlearn them. And many don't even think that they should unlearn them. They just keep going deeper into the distortion and they just accept it. They accept all of the illusions, and yeah, they just here. Some of them don't even realize that there's more. Okay, they don't want to be with that type of person. And I kind of feel like that's why they feel bad. There's something about them wishing they had have known before. Things that they know now, they really wish that they had have been taught these things before, because there's so many things that happened, so many experiences that they had that weren't favorable. They would have known to stay away from those types of people, because I feel like there were times when they could have gotten hurt or something, or they could have gotten affected by these types of energies that they were around once upon a time. But now that they see you, the way you shine is different. The way you shine is way different. It's like, wow, okay? Because they're really seeing the difference between you and all those other energies that they were with. They feel bad. They feel like they should have known. But it's just one of those things where you live and you learn, that's all. But they feel like they should have known. Can you give me a card for this Five of Cups? It says creation. I just heard they feel like they created a monster, or they created monsters. There's something about them in when they were in their, when they were living through their lower frequency, they feel like they created monsters for whatever reason, because I just heard that. Maybe their ways made people really like lose it or something. They feel like you sharpened them, is what I'm getting. Genesis. I just saw that card while I was shuffling. It kind of peeked out, and then it came out again. They feel like you sharpened them, and your sharpening gave them order and peace. There's something about you sharpening them. They're thankful for the way how you handled them. There's something about how you handled them. You cleanse their spirit. It's like you cleanse them, because they were devastated. For a long time, they were living in devastation, and they learned, and they had a lot of, how can I say, unfavorable memories on their heart that never really left. And your energy softened their heart and also cleansed it with this hope card, and how she has a vase or vase, however you want to pronounce it. And then the water is trickling out. So you were able to assist them with cleansing their spirit, cleansing their psyche from the toxicity that was consuming them. They were being consumed by their own toxicity, like toxic ways. And we're always going to have some toxic in us, don't get me wrong. That doesn't go away. It's about really being able to control it, maintain it, because you have to control your beast. You can't let your beast control you, because then you're going to be out here wilding and losing control. And you always want to have control. That's scary, to just be out and not have control of yourself. That is actually scary, especially in these times of the world. Almost, I was about to say these times of the earth. But I guess we could say that too, just because you have to keep a lookout. You have to be alert. If you're not alert, you can get got, okay? So it just makes sense for you to know what's going on around you. You can't just be walking and not looking. That's like walking across the street with your head in your phone, your head down, and there's cars coming and you're not even looking up. You setting yourself up if you just choose to not be always in a state of alert, okay? So this person feels like that's how they were living in a way. They feel like they were living in a state where they weren't alert, and they're not doing that anymore. they've learned their lesson, and that's a good thing. And I just heard Spirit said they learned right in the nick of time, because something was about to get way worse, and they just saved themselves from taking heed to whatever it is that you gave to them. Your presence gave them something. I heard it, the gift of life. I looked at the Ankh and I saw the gift of life. So there's something about, when you go down a certain path in your life, you never know what's on that path. You never know exactly what's there all the time. And something really could have gone horribly wrong if they had have stayed on that path. However, we're just happy that they didn't get stuck there, because it was going to get worse. Okay, so they would have done a disservice to themselves if they had stayed within that condition. Okay, so I want to get a card to close it out. Let me get these cards. It says no, fly free. I just heard no, I'm not going back. And winds of change, fly free. So they're free from their old ways now. And then there's yes here, but it's in reverse, so that means no. So they're not going to go back to those ways from before. They're detaching from them, they're flying free. They're no longer tethered to that way of life. They're courageous enough to move forward, and they're going to conquer. I heard they're going to conquer the adversity of their destiny. So if there's any adversity that you both deal with within a relationship, I don't feel like towards each other, but towards or from like external forces, this person is ready for it. It's like they're courageous, and together the two of you will conquer all. Nothing is going to get in your way, because the most challenging aspect of their issue has been resolved, and that was to get away from the energy that was bringing them down. Okay, so now they can have what they want here with the family. Now they can have a family, and they can have you. It's like they look at you and they think you're a dream, because they've been with so many different energies, and they've never encountered an energy like yours. And it's like they're nervous that this is going to be pulled from under them. You know how what is that saying? Pulling the rug from beneath someone. If someone's walking and a rug is pulled, they're going to fall. I heard they've already fallen in love with you. It's just that they hope you love them back. That's the scary part for this person. And I heard usually they don't put all their eggs in one basket. Usually they don't just hone in and invest in one person or because they're used to that single way of living. So now to do that is a bit frightening for them. But they're going to do it anyway, because they believe in this love that the two of you share. That's very sweet. I'm going to get one more message. I'm going to get a random card from the middle. Let's see what it says. Love a boy, love a girl. Okay. I hear life at first sight. Now they gonna live. This is real living with someone that actually loves them like they love them. It's not one-sided. So the two of you are considered lover boys and lover girls. Bye. Peace, peace, peace. I'll see you in the next message.